bus system when you add a rail system and you reroute it where the buses serve the rail station. So they become feeders to the rail station. So maybe instead of having an express bus from Norman to Oklahoma City, you're going to have a bus that takes you to the Norman station and you take commuter rail to Oklahoma City. So commuter rail is typically characterized by running on existing freight tracks, so it's cost effective. It runs every 15 minutes to 1 hour to 2 hours, depending on what your ridership is. And it usually stops about every 5 miles. So
and you're saying that freight rail?
will run on the freight tracks, but it's passenger
Existing
freight tracks that have to be upgraded to increase the speed, but it normally operates on freight tracks or an existing freight right-of-way. High-speed rail, if you think about it, it replaces airline service. High-speed rail will go from Oklahoma City to Fort Worth, and there might be 1, maybe 2 stops in between, and it's going to run 90 to 150 miles an hour. High-speed rail will also go from Oklahoma City to Tulsa, and then from Tulsa maybe connect to Chicago. So it becomes a broader, commuter rail is a regional system, high-speed rail is a national system that would connect to the high-speed rail network that's being planned at least all over the country. Whether or not we'll ever be able to afford it, we don't know yet. But ODOT is taking that on as a separate study. They're getting ready to do environmental studies to look at doing the environmental clearance from Fort Worth through Oklahoma City to Tulsa to be able to do high-speed rail in those existing freight corridors, possibly running on the same tracks, but maybe needing additional tracks to increase the speed.
Okay, then where does Will Rogers Airport transportation system that's non-existent and a public disgrace fit into this whole scenario? Is it high-speed rail? Is it commuter rail? Is it trolley? Is it rubber-tired buses?
Right now, it's rubber-tired buses by the plan.
Yeah,
but we've also incorporated a plan to run commuter rail, at least near the airport, at some point in the future.
You realize we don't have 7-day-a-week bus service or any transportation bus service to the airport. Are you aware of that?
You know, we don't care what's out there now. We're going to make it better. Let's just start with that. We're looking at 2035 and doing a system plan. That's the reason that ACOG and COPTA has taken on doing a system plan. They're trying to increase that service and make it more passenger friendly and make it easier to use and create connectivity and increase ridership. That's what this plan is all about.
Let me go to Jeff.
Well, I serve on the MAPS Streetcar Transit Hub subcommittee, and I just wanted to say that, you know, originally when the streetcar was conceived, it was a downtown circulator, and now it's kind of grown legs and become, you know, by the wishes of council, it's stretching itself more into a light rail component. I mean, we're trying to reach with the MAPS money that we have outside of downtown, and our eligibility for federal funding has become much more prevalent. So I guess I take issue with the fact that you've listed 1 bay for 2035 for a streetcar, and you're projecting 10-minute intervals, which if we were staying simply as a circulator with no growth, then that might be somewhat accurate. But the purpose of the streetcar system is growing, and the possibility of adding a secondary line on top of that line is certainly a possibility.
Right.
I think that the capacity for the streetcar system to be able to grow is something that absolutely has to be noted in public comments. I feel that 1 bay is insufficient. And the other thing that I would say is that, you know, if you've ever ridden a streetcar, they are not timed out perfectly like a commuter rail train is. If they get stuck in traffic, you may end up wanting to sit there at the hub and wait for a commuter train to come in to be able to pick up passengers. So the ability to house more than 1 streetcar at the hub site, I think, is crucial to enabling the MAP streetcar system to expand.
Jeff, how often has your committee met with these guys? Gabby, go ahead.
Yes.
Well, a lot of what I was going to say has been said, but I think I hear the same concerns I have. But 2035 sounds like a long way away, but really it isn't.
24 years.
It isn't. And I think there'd be a big problem, and I understand that what I've seen your presentation, that you're talking about using another lot, but it would be, you've gotta have room for the platforms too and the other tracks. So I think, should we look out beyond 2035? That's not very
Here,
far
here.
away. I didn't think that 2011 would ever get here, and here it is. And I'm just concerned about not looking far enough out, and the fact that we need a space. I love the Santa Fe Depot, but we need a space where we can we get all those platforms in there? Do we have the space to add more platforms than what you're talking about?
Well, we're about to get to that, so I think if you let us cover that in a minute, it may answer those questions. So I think the clarification I'd like to make is we're using 2035 numbers as our starting point, and then making sure we can expand beyond that.
I would like to ask Jeff, why do you want to use expensive light rail when we'll be using buses for that? And then we've got huge clunky trains with terrible head times. Our MetNet is fit right in the middle, goes all over with 15-minute head times or less. Why do y'all, this is the automobile dealer's dream, what you've got. You make it so unusable, it's never gonna work in the store.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Tom Elmore, North American Transportation Institute. We just lost a 15-year fight to save our 55,000 square foot terminal building with 3 existing passenger platforms as the center for our rail network, while these folks here obstructed and destroyed, and while Carter Burgess, your antecedent, had nothing to say. You say that Amtrak trains and commuter trains use the same tracks in the Northeast. They're all electrified. You're going to run diesel-electric trains under overhead electric catenary at a passenger platform?
Happens all the time. Been done. Yes, we are.
You talk about BRT like it's something other than a bus made up to look like a train. You will never see a train trying to look like a bus. Why don't we just use buses and forget all the fiberglass panels that maintenance is going to strip off after a few years anyway? Except that it makes them more expensive, and they don't last any longer than the buses did. You know, I didn't have any confidence when I came here. I have, you guys couldn't shake my confidence, because there's no reason for anybody to have any confidence in you. But suffice it to say, you know, the MARC trains in the Northeast go 125 miles an hour. Isn't that high-speed rail?
Tom, I tried to get you to help me save that crosstown viaduct that ODOT wants to tear down. That's the key to transportation, not put it down south. And you wouldn't help me. Why do you have to have little things? I gotta let, you know, why can't it work?
We appreciate that. Thank you for your comments. We're going to move on.
For the record, though, you're objecting to rail in general.
For the record, I'm objecting to you in general.
And what?
You.
Okay, we'll talk about that
Yes.
later.